Welcome to today's webinar on Salesforce Chatter. My name is Robin Daniels, and today I want to talk to you about how to have some real-world success with Chatter. I want to show you how to use Chatter, how to activate it, and I also want to show you how Salesforce uses Chatter internally. Now, Chatter was made available to all of our customers in June, and Chatter is an amazing product that just makes Salesforce so much better. It makes it more engaging, it makes it more fun, it makes the experience a lot more relevant and personal to each user, and I want to show you today exactly how it works. So first of all, let me just show you our safe harbor slide. Salesforce is a publicly traded company, so I have to show you this. If you want to read all the details of this, you can go to our website under Investor Relations and read the details. Now, what is Chatter? Many of you have already been educated on what Chatter is, and Chatter really is a smarter way to collaborate. Chatter works just like Facebook, so anyone who's familiar with Facebook knows exactly what to do when they log on to Salesforce. We've had some amazing successes from companies who have just turned on Chatter for thousands of users, and the users log in the morning and they see Chatter as the first thing when they log in, and they know how to use it because it works and acts just like Facebook. You have your status update bar, and then you can follow people and you can friend people and data and documents. Now, Chatter is also really great because it's not just about the people interacting, it's also about interacting with documents and applications and data, because each user can decide for themselves exactly what data is important to them, what sales deals, what customer cases, which accounts they care about. And by choosing to follow all of this inside of Chatter, all of that information comes streamed to them in real time whenever something is changed with that data. Now, of course, it wouldn't be a Salesforce application if it wasn't secure and private and completely trusted. So we take that very seriously. We have put Chatter inside the heart of Salesforce, so it is just for your company to collaborate with internally, so your users can work on the data that they care about with the deals that they care about to close in that quarter or that year. What's also really cool about Chatter is the notion that every single person can now interact with each other instead of through email. And what we're learning from companies using Chatter is that email has also been significantly reduced because suddenly a lot of the conversations are happening on Chatter. I'm going to show you exactly what I mean when I say that. Now, so with Chatter, the insights really come to you. One of the things we've learned from Chatter is that Chatter really is a much better way to work because instead of you having to go hunt for information, which a lot of us have to do now to find anything that is really relevant to our deals or to our customer cases or to our jobs, right now with Chatter, all the information that you care about as a user comes to you because you as a user go in and choose all those things inside of the system. And we have this great quote from Mark Benioff who said that Chatter has really freed him from the CEO bubble because he now knows what all our employees are doing. And he knows exactly what's going on with the company. He said at an event back in April that using Chatter in 2 months made him more aware of what was going on in the company than running the company for the last 3 years. And that's because instead of having to go and ask people what's going on all the time or have to look at account records or sales deals or see what people are working on, because if people are posting their status updates and you can see what's going on with deals and customer cases, you know exactly what's going on at any given point in time. It's a great way to really stay in the loop and have all the insights from a company streamed to you in real time. So let's take a look at what Chatter actually looks like, and let's take a look at how do you activate it, because I get a lot of questions on what is Chatter really going to mean when I turn it on to my company and to my Salesforce instance. So let me jump into a browser. And here I am in my standard Firefox browser. I'm going to click into a Chatter demo. And the first thing you'll see when I log into this demo is an activation screen. And this activation screen basically tells me that Chatter is available. So if you're an admin, you will have seen this screen if you logged into Salesforce in the last couple of weeks. And from here, you can actually turn on Chatter. You can see in the background that I have my standard Salesforce application. I have my home tab, my leads, accounts, contacts, opportunities, and so on, because I'm in the sales application right now. And on the screen here itself, you can learn about Chatter. You can watch a video. You can click to a Get Started site, or you can set up Chatter right here. So I'm going to click Set Up Chatter, and I'm taken to the setup area. And right within here, I can click the Edit button, and I can click Enable Chatter, and I can click the Save button. And in less than a minute, I have actually activated Chatter for every single Salesforce user inside of my company. So if I click back on the Home tab, you'll suddenly see that I have a couple of new tabs at the top. Before I had my leads, accounts, contacts, and so on, but now by turning on Chatter, I also have a Profile tab and a People tab. So that's really cool. You'll also notice that suddenly there's this picture of an admin user right here, and there's something new called Show Chatter. So if I first click on I can either click on the name or on the user picture itself, I'm taken to a profile. And this is a profile just like you have on Facebook, where you can update and control all the information about you. So I'm going to go in and update my photo. I'll browse to my desktop here. I'm going to upload a photo of myself. And it's super easy to use. You can see here I'm uploading a photo. I'm going to click Save. And just like that, I now have a photo for everyone to see in my company. And it's amazing what this does to how it humanizes your company. I've heard from a lot of companies who've turned on Chatter who said it's amazing what happens when every single user inside of our company suddenly has a face, and I know exactly what they look like. So when I'm interacting with them on email or through Chatter or on the phone, I know exactly what they look like, and it's amazing how it humanizes an organization. You can also see here on the left-hand side, I have information about me. I can click on the pen tab right here, and I can go in and I can modify my contact information right there. I can click About Me here as well. And what we recommend you do here is really go in here and write about yourself, your skill set. So I could say, I worked at Veritas for 5 years. I'm Danish, right? Write a little bit about yourself so people can maybe find your expertise, find you, and connect the dots on some work that they're doing. And I can click Save, and everything gets updated, of course, in real time right here. On the right-hand side, you'll see that I can see exactly who I'm following. Of course, I just turned this on, so I'm not following. I have no followers yet, but I can see that I'm following a few people already. You can also see here below that I have a couple of files that I've added to my Salesforce Chatter feed. And I can go in and I click Show All, and I can see instantly all the things that I'm following right here, and all the things that I've uploaded. So if I click back here, of course, I can see my Chatter feed of all the things that I've posted. So I could click here. I'm speaking about Chatter. And I can share that with everyone who's following me. But I can also go in and I can share files and I can share links. Now, if I click back to my Home tab, you'll see here that there's also something called a Chatter feed. Now, besides just having the standard recent items on the left-hand side and having my dashboard and so on at the bottom, I now have a Chatter feed. And this Chatter feed is basically a collection of all the things that I care about inside of Salesforce. So you can see here that people have actually uploaded different things, and every time something changes, I get notified. But of course, this org I'm showing you is basically a blank org, so it doesn't really have a lot of information. So let me show you what Chatter would look like in an active org. So one of the orgs, for example, that you're using right now to manage your sales or your customer services. So here we have Scott Thompson, and he's a sales rep at this company, and he has a Chatter feed, just like I showed you. And if I click Show the Chatter feed, what happens is that my Chatter feeds get expanded. I can see a collection of all the things that I care about inside of Salesforce get streamed to me in real time, no matter where I am. So that's through my browser, through my iPhone, through my iPad, you name it. And I can click Show Older, and just like on Facebook, I get now a collection of all of the things that I've subscribed to come to me in my feed. So instead of me having to hunt for this information, I can discover new things that I never knew existed, and I get notified of status changes in accounts and in customer deals that I really care about. So if I scroll down here, you can see that I have a green dot media opportunity has been updated by Matt Buchanan. And because I subscribe to this green dot media opportunity for $655K, I'll get notified instantly in my feed. Now, think about it as this. If you were a sales manager, for example, and you were managing 10 people with each working 20 different deals, that's a lot of deals to keep tabs on. You would have to email your people, maybe call them up to find out what was going on. But with Chatter, what happens is you go in and you subscribe to a deal, and every time something changes with that deal, you get notified instantly. And it's the same for any page or any kind of data that lives in Salesforce. So you see here that Army Agenta below, if you look at my screen, has escalated a case to critical, right? And what happens is that she can go in and work on that instantly because she gets notified. And other people who are following that can also know this information instantly. So Mary here is a sales manager who's meeting with a customer, and she's working on an important deal for this customer, and she needs to know that this issue has been fixed right away before she goes in and meets with the customer. What you'll also notice on my screen is that I have this notion of bringing in information from third-party systems. So here we have an Oracle invoice that's 30 days overdue coming into my Chatter feed and updating me. And this is great if you think about it, because a lot of times you have multiple systems that you work in to get your job done. It could be an Oracle system, an SAP system, a SharePoint system, maybe Google Docs, and so on. And with Chatter, we can bring in all of that information into one stream. So instead of me having to go to all these different systems to find all this information that I need to get my work done, it's all coming to me in real time right inside of Chatter. And the last thing I really want to point out here on my Chatter feed is you'll also notice that I have a person sharing a file right inside the Chatter feed. And you can do that easily. And instead of having to then download the file or send it over email, you can view it right within the browser. So I can click View, and right within the browser, I can take a look at this file and see what I think about it. And you can notice then that other people have commented on this file that Jake Borland has updated. And what's so great about it, it's just like sharing a photo on Facebook. People can go in and comment on this and make remarks, but it's all in a work setting here. So people will come in with good suggestions for how to make your content better. And in this case, it's an agenda for a sales meeting with Green Dot Media. So what happens is the other people who are needed to participate in this sales meeting can go in and find out if we're covering the right things. Now, imagine how that would have happened before Chatter. You would have to send around emails, try to line up everyone's schedule. But right now, you can do it all in line in Chatter. But what's so cool about it is that it's all happening right on the account record. So you'll see here that this says Green Dot Media for $655K. So I'm going to click on that, and I'm taken to the opportunity right away. And here you can see that I have all my standard opportunity detail that you're used to seeing in Salesforce. You know exactly when the deal is going to close. You know how big the deal is. You know which contacts we have, which products we're trying to sell, and so on. But you'll notice that each separate page now in Salesforce, each object has a Chatter feed. So by expanding that Chatter feed, it in essence becomes a private collaboration space where people who care about this deal can collaborate right in the context of this deal. So again, instead of sending all this information over email, instead of trying to find out what's going on with this deal, you can all go in and you can just find out exactly by sharing that information right in this deal. So I could go in here and I could say, this deal looks really promising. And anyone who's following it will see that instantly. And on the right-hand side, you'll notice there's this picture of all the followers of the deal, which is great because it gives me an instant visibility into who is working on this deal and who cares about this deal. And every time something changes with this deal, I'll get notified instantly via my Chatter feed. So if I click on instead of just an opportunity, I can click on an account record. So if I'm taken to an account record. And what you'll notice is that it's not just about opportunities chattering to you, it's also account records themselves. So what's amazing here is that accounts have Chatter feeds. It could be customer cases, it could be opportunities. Every single page now has a Chatter feed. And I can click very easily, follow this. And now you can see on the right-hand side, I was added to this list of followers. And every time something changes with this account, I can see that instantly in the feed. So you can see when a billing address was changed, when a new contract review, and so on. And because I'm following this, I get instant visibility into everything that's happening with the things that I care about inside of Salesforce. So again, think about it. The insights are now coming to you instead of you having to go find these. What you'll also notice when you turn on Chatter is that you have a new application. So in the top right-hand corner, you're familiar with the drop-down where you have all your applications in Salesforce. You have your sales application, your call center, your marketing, and so on. But you also have a new Salesforce Chatter application. And if I click on that application, I'm taken to a specific set of tabs that are just related to Chatter. So here you can see that I have my home, profile, people, which is a private directory of all the people in my company, and I have a groups tab. And the groups tab is really cool because it allows me to see what kind of groups are created in my company to work together on topics or issues or information. So here we have groups that are related to competitive intelligence, customer references, cycling team, finance team, and these groups can be based on, verticals, can be based on information or topics that you care about, and you want to really have a private space where you can share information about certain types of topics. So if I click on this competitive intelligence group, what we see is that this is a group where we're sharing information related to competitive intelligence. So I can instantly see who's a member of this group, I can see what files have been shared with this group, and I can see all the latest information that have been discussed around competitive intelligence. People are sharing files, right? They're sharing expertise, and it's really a great way to find out who are the experts in my company on a certain topic. And any group you create can be either completely public or completely private. And what that means is if you create a public group, every single person in your company will be able to go in and join that group and see the issues being discussed. But if you create a private group, you have to get an invitation to that group to participate in the conversations or to share information. So this is really cool if you have certain sensitive topics that you want to talk about, maybe a merger or acquisition, maybe it's HR issues, it could be maybe sales compensation, you name it. If you have any sensitive information, it's probably a good idea to create a private group where you can discuss information and share that with the rest of the team. The other thing to think about is that when you share information on records, so let me go back here to a record such as my Green Dot Media opportunity that I was just talking about, only people with access to this opportunity or this account or this customer case would be able to see the issues being discussed here. So, Chatter follows the sharing and security model set up by your company completely, which means that if you have certain information that is kept from other people, and for example, records, then people who have access to those records will only be able to see other people who have access to those records as well. It's not shared completely with everyone else in your company. It's a completely private and trusted environment, so you can have those discussions right where they matter. What's also so great about having discussions on the opportunity records or account records themselves is that it provides you a snapshot in time. If you want to go back to an opportunity maybe in 6 months or a year or maybe even 2 years, you'll know exactly what information was shared with this customer, when it was shared, what the feedback was, and so on. So really it's a great way to have the collaboration happen right inside of Salesforce where everyone's already working. So that was a quick look at activating and using Chatter. It really is very simple to do. It takes you less than a minute to activate Chatter and get it up and running. And then you can roll it out to all your users very simply. Now, I really wanted to share with you some best practice examples of how we're using Chatter at Salesforce. Now, one of the things that we really discovered from turning on Chatter back in February when it was made available to us is that our email usage has dropped significantly. We have seen a reduction in email by about 40%. And here on screen, you see a great example of our industries team sending out an email to everyone in sales saying, if you care about the industries team, who shared a lot of great PowerPoints and information about certain verticals such as pharmaceuticals or high tech or insurance or finance and so on. If you care about information coming from this team, you should go in and follow the experts. So instead of us sending out emails and spamming everyone where we don't know if anyone's ever going to read the information, you should go follow us. And it has been such a hit that they have, hundreds and thousands of followers, these people who are the experts on the industries team. So we've really reduced the number of emails that we're sending inside the company. There are also 5 other great examples of how we're using Chatter internally. But what we're really seeing is that our connections between us are exploding. And what I mean here is that we're connecting the dots like never before in terms of knowing exactly who to contact in an account or who has the expertise to close the deal, which is really great. And I'll share with you some examples of how we're doing that. The next thing is really about how our applications and our data have been brought to life by using Chatter, because it's talking to us now and it's coming to us in real time. It's not static information living in a system anymore, as you just saw from my demonstration. It's actually proactively coming to me when I need it, so I don't have to hunt for that information anymore. The third example is really about discovering new things you never knew existed. A lot of times you'll discover information from colleagues who have expertise that you didn't know they had. Even though they might sit 2 doors down from you in the next cubicle or something, you don't know maybe that they have expertise on a certain product or a certain industry or a certain topic, and we're discovering things that we never knew before. The fourth example is really about sharing information. We're seeing a lot of sharing happening, and we're seeing that sharing happening right on the account records, right on the opportunities, and right inside of Chatter to solicit feedback and make our content a lot better. And the fifth example is really about having our teams a lot more engaged. Everyone is a lot more engaged now from using Chatter because it makes the experience much more relevant to each user, but it also makes the experience much more fun. And the executives who a lot of times in a lot of companies live in these walled-off gardens are now a lot more connected to what is happening every single day inside of the company. So the first example I really wanted to share with you about how we're connecting the dots at Salesforce. So here we have a sales rep called Glenn. And he's asking our head of sales, Jim Steele, for an introduction to a certain person at a company that he's working on. He's working on closing a deal here. And Jim Steele, for those of you who don't know him, he is the head of sales at Salesforce, and he is known to just have a lot of connections in a lot of different industries. So everyone always goes to Jim to ask for an introduction. Now, what is so great about this example is that Mark Benioff, our CEO, he's not following Glenn, but he was following Jim. And he saw that Glenn had posted something on Jim's wall, and he went in and he answered the question for Glenn. And the thing that's so great about this example is that Jim is, super smart, but he's not always online. He's not always available to answer questions. And Chatter really fosters organic collaboration. Now, this would never have happened on email, but on Chatter, it becomes very natural and very organic because Mark sees Glenn has a problem, he needs an introduction, and he can go in and help out Glenn. Now, if Glenn had sent an email to Jim, he would have had to wait maybe hours or days or maybe weeks even to get an answer. Right, but right now he gets an answer very quickly, and he can go in and he can actually start working that deal a lot better. And it just shows how we're helping each other out with information you would never have discovered otherwise. The other great example here is that how we're connecting with new experts. So here we have a sales rep in Europe, Vocera, who's looking for people who have automotive expertise. And she's asking this question to Dominic DiNardo, as you see at the top, who is our international head of our sales engineering organization. And of course, Dominic DiNardo has a lot of followers because he heads up international sales engineers. So Lawrence Ratcliffe sees this on Dominic's wall, and he jumps in with some expertise. Matthew Friend as well sees it. Rosella goes in and she clarifies her question. Kelly goes in and answers the question as well. So suddenly we have this notion of experts from all around the world weighing in with information that helps make her meeting a lot better. And again, she would never have discovered all this information from just sending an email to Dominic DiNardo asking for information about automotive experience. But here people see it, they come in, they can provide answers that make her information and her meeting a lot better. The second example is really about following data and following applications that make them come to life. Now, so what we're doing now with Chatter is we're following deals in real time. So imagine, Frank or Jim or any other salesperson in a company following all the deals and trying to keep track of all the deals that they're working. It's a lot of work to do, right? It's a lot of things that you have to do proactively. But now with Chatter, every single time something changes in a deal, it gets pushed to you in real time. So if you're a sales manager, again, and you're managing a couple of people who are all working several different deals, it can be a real pain to go and find out the status of each of those deals. But now by following them inside of Chatter, every time something changes with those deals, if it gets moved to a different stage or it gets closed, you will know instantly. So here you see that a deal closes and it triggers an update in the Chatter feed. And Frank, who is our international head of sales, knows instantly when this deal closes. He knows it because it gets pushed to him in real time. And you can see here that Dominic DiNardo, again, our international head of our sales engineers, goes in and congratulates them on a job well done. So it's a great example of you just being in the know at all times and cutting down that email, cutting down having to find all that information manually or ask your people. It all gets pushed to you when you care about it. The third example really in terms of discovery is so amazing about how we're discovering things that we never knew existed. Salesforce is, of course, growing rapidly. We're a successful company. And what's happening is that we are adding a lot of employees all the time around the world who have great expertise. And what we're seeing is that people from all over the world are now jumping in on Chatter to help each other out to close more business and to really bring that expertise to the forefront. So here we have Eli Cohen. He's about to meet with a customer, and he wants to get all the airline stories for a meeting with Virgin. So he's asking this on Chatter. He says, hey, if you have any great stories, please share them with me. And what you see happening is that people from around the world are coming in with good stories that he can bring to the meeting to make it sound like, of course, that he knows exactly what he's talking about, and he can share some great customer examples from customers around the world. So Continental for cargo sales, BLM, and so on from Europe. And these are people that Eli probably doesn't work with on a day-to-day basis. I know Xavier is actually located in Spain, so he probably doesn't work with him on a day-to-day basis because Eli is based in San Francisco. But on Chatter, it becomes very organic and very natural to share information that you have that could help each other out. In terms of sharing content, we share a lot of content now using Chatter that we wouldn't have shared otherwise. Because on email, it becomes very hard to share that content. I know, for example, if I'm meeting with a customer, I have a PowerPoint presentation. A lot of times that PowerPoint presentation becomes really large. It can be 20 megabytes, 30 megabytes, and trying to send that over email is virtually impossible. It'll get rejected by an email server or by a firewall. Then I have to find another way to upload that file somewhere where my customer can see it. And imagine doing that when you have a big customer meeting with maybe 10 people and all trying to share information, making sure there's no overlap, making sure everyone's covering the right things. But with Chatter, it becomes very organic to share that information. So here we have a customer coming to meet with Salesforce at our HQ in San Francisco. And traditionally before Chatter, we would have to send back and forth the agenda and our files that we want to show to the customer. But right now what happens is we share all that information right in the account record itself. And we can upload our files and we can see exactly what everyone else is covering in that meeting to make sure there's no overlap and that we actually deliver the right information to the customer so they walk away happy. And of course, what's also so great about sharing the content right on the account record itself is that it provides a snapshot in time. If I want to go back a year from now and look at this account record and see exactly what information was shared with the customer, I have it all right there in the Chatter feed itself. You can also see here is another example of how we're soliciting feedback by sharing information on Chatter. So here you have myself. I'm sharing a version of the Getting Started guide with Chatter. It's something that we're sending to our customers to teach them how to use Chatter, how to activate it, and so on. But I wanted to get feedback on this guide from people in our company. So I posted it on Chatter on my wall, and people from all around the world, they went in and they posted comments. You can see there's 2 more comments that have been hidden because there were so many comments to this document. John Mountjoy, who's located in Edinburgh, came in, and he said something that he wanted to see to make the experience and the guide better. So we're getting ideas from all over to make our content a lot better for everyone who's using Salesforce. And the last example I really want to share is about how we're being a lot more engaged now by using Chatter. Our executives are much more engaged, but every single person is a lot more engaged because with Chatter, the experience becomes a lot more fun and a lot more relevant to our everyday lives. So you can see here that Jim Steele, again, I had an example with him earlier. He's our head of sales. He was at a CloudForce event in Chicago, and he was sitting with a customer at lunch, and this customer asked Jim a question. And, Jim is a super smart guy. He knows a lot of things, but this was a really technical question, and Jim didn't know the answer. So what he did was he brought out his iPhone, and he posted the question on Chatter on his iPhone, and within 4 minutes, he got a response back that he shared with the customer, the CIO who was asking the question. And the customer was totally astounded because Jim got the answer back to him so quickly. He was able to tap into the collective knowledge of our entire organization by posting something on Chatter, because he had some followers and people who were following Jim saw his question and were able to provide a lot of information that helped him service his customer a lot better. It's really a great example of how we're staying a lot more connected and a lot more engaged in everything that's happening in our company. So that was a little bit about how we use Chatter at Salesforce. Hopefully that has sparked your imagination of how you can use it at your company. What I wanted to share now is just some tips and tricks on how to use Chatter that will make your experience even better. Now, the first tip is really about understanding who sees what when you post something on Chatter. It's a question I get a lot from users who are just starting out. So if you post something on Chatter, who can see that? Well, let me explain to you just really quickly. You have different places you can post something. You can post something on your Home tab, on your User Profile tab, or on a record itself, such as an opportunity, a customer case, an account, and so on. If you post something on your Home tab or your Profile tab, those are public places that everyone can see your postings from. It doesn't matter if they're following you or not. People can click into your name, and they can click to your profile, and they can see exactly what you've posted. So if you want to post something that's private or only for certain people to see, you have to post it either in a group that's private, or you have to post it in an opportunity or in an account that only certain people can see. Because Chatter, as I mentioned earlier, really follows the sharing and security model set up by your administrator. The second tip I wanted to share with you is really about controlling your email notifications. As a user, when you log in and you set up Chatter, you can control exactly when you get notified from the system of an event. And sometimes you want to maybe get notified every time something happens inside of Chatter, or maybe you don't want to get notified at all. These settings are not static. You can go in and change them at any point in time. I highly recommend that you go and play around with these to find out exactly what works for you. You can get notified anytime anytime someone follows you or posts on your profile and so on. Or maybe you don't want to get notified at all. Maybe you want to just find out for yourself every time you log into Chatter. It's completely up to you. The third tip I want to share is about really finding out what you're following. As you start following a lot of people and accounts and contacts and records and so on, maybe you will start wondering, what exactly am I following? So if you click on your profile page, on the right-hand side, you'll see all your followers and you'll see all the things that you're following. So if you click on that link, if you click the Show All, you'll be taken to this pop-up window where you can then filter by users, by accounts, by contacts, opportunities, or any other custom objects that you might have in your system. So it's a great way of getting instant visibility into all the things that you're following inside of Salesforce with Chatter. The fourth tip I really want to share with you is about discovering active users. So if you click on the People tab, it's a private directory of all the people in your company who have a Chatter license. And that tab is by default sorted by last name. So you can go in and you can find people, or you can do a quick search for them. But what's really great is that you can also sort by status update. It's a great way to discover people who are very active on Chatter and start following those. Because by following people who are very active on Chatter, you'll gain insight into things you never knew before. And you'll also see comments from other people you might not even know exist in your company. So as I mentioned, Salesforce, for example, is about 4,000 people now. There's a lot of people I've never met in different regions and in different departments. And by following certain key people, I get insight into discussions being had and expertise that I never would have found out otherwise from people in Australia or Singapore or in our Dublin office. And I'm discovering all this by following the right people on Chatter. And the last tip I really want to share with you is just a little bit about Chatter etiquette. So remember that Chatter is a business tool. So keep conversations business related. And the reason why I say that is that if you have a lot of people on Chatter start sharing personal things, then a lot of people will start tuning out because they don't see any value from Chatter. If you start sharing what you had for dinner last night or where you're going for lunch today or what you saw on TV, people will start tuning that information out. This is a business tool, so keep the conversations business related. It'll make everyone a lot happier. And remember, don't post anything that you wouldn't want your CEO or your HR team to see. Right? This is, again, a public space where you can share information and expertise, but just be conscious of what you're posting. And don't post anything rude or anything obscene, because, again, it'll just start becoming noise to all the people on Chatter who are following you. Now, what are we seeing from customers using Chatter? We're seeing that our customers are becoming a lot more successful with Chatter. They're finding information a lot quicker. Their teamwork and collaboration is really going through the roof, and they're becoming a lot more productive. Now, this survey was done in May, before the product was even made live. This was done with our beta customers, just a few hundred of them, who we asked exactly what they were seeing from using Chatter. And you can see the feedback has been quite astounding. Any company would kill to have these kind of improvements in their collaboration, in their productivity, and so on. And our customers are seeing great benefit from using Chatter. So we have more than 10,000 companies today using Chatter. You see some of them on screen here. And a lot of them have turned on Chatter. They're seeing a lot of usage from different parts of the company, and they're seeing people sharing information, sharing expertise that they wouldn't have shared otherwise outside of Chatter. Rewards Network is a good example of a company turning on Chatter for every single user inside of their company. Basically, they decided that they wanted to have a single place where every single Salesforce user and every single user who didn't have a Salesforce license could go into and actually share information and find out exactly what everyone else was working on. They had an intranet, but this intranet was static. It was hard to maintain. It was hard to update. But with Chatter, everything is always dynamic. It's always updated. And people now use Chatter as the first place to log into in the morning because they want to find out what's going on with their deals, what's going on with the people that they care about and they work with every single day. So it really is an exciting tool for Rewards Network that has really increased engagement and adoption of the entire system. Interisys is another really interesting company. They're part of Siemens. They do security hardware and software. And they basically have nearly 1,000 users. And they just turned on Chatter without any warning for all their users because they thought it was so easy to use. It was so intuitive. And within 2 weeks, they had about 100% user adoption. Nearly every single person had updated their profile with photos. They would start following people. They start following objects such as deals and accounts. They started commenting on each other's status updates. And it really improved the team selling between their sales teams and service teams and product teams to really close those deals a lot faster. And their execs are a lot more engaged in what is happening in the company. And what's also cool about this example is that they actually chatterized all their custom apps as well. As you saw, it was really easy to turn on Chatter. But what's so cool about Chatter is that any application built on the Force.com platform instantly becomes chatterized. You just go in and have to click an enable button for those custom applications, and they have a chatter feed attached to them. It really is that simple. It will take you less than 10 seconds to chatterize an application that you've built. I just want to share with you also some feedback we're seeing from the Twitter community on Chatter. And this is amazing. Salesforce is an enterprise company. We sell enterprise applications. And normally people get kind of excited, but not as excited as about Apple or Google or Facebook. But what we're hearing about Chatter, we're hearing words that we've never heard associated with enterprise software before. And the reason why is because Chatter really changes the experience for end users. It becomes amazing and engaging. It becomes fun and a lot more relevant. And it really is fundamentally changing exactly how Salesforce is being perceived by our end users, because suddenly every information that they care about is a lot more relevant to them. So I highly encourage you to try out Chatter. Go turn it on. It is live now for every single one of our customers. It's included at no extra charge. That means that if you're using Salesforce for sales or customer service or custom apps, you will get Chatter for free at no extra charge. All you have to do is go in and activate Chatter today. It really is that simple to do. So my main message to you now as we come to a close at this call is really it's time to turn on Chatter. You've seen how easy it is to turn it on. You've seen how easy it is to use it. Just go in and update your profile, start following people, start following records, start sharing information, and the collaboration will happen very organically if you start doing that. There's a lot of resources out there to help you get started. There's a page called salesforce.com/chatter/get-started where you can find guides to activating Chatter. You can find guides to using Chatter, tips and tricks, and so on. So start reviewing that today. Get ready for Chatter. Then roll it out. Encourage your users to go through the interactive training, which is also on that site. It's completely free of charge. Start telling your users to follow people on records. And then, when you're ready for it, why not let everyone in your company start using Chatter? Because what we're learning, both internally and also from all the companies who've turned on Chatter, is that it's great if Chatter is being used by the sales teams and the customer service teams and so on, but it's even better if every single person in a company uses Chatter. And we have a Chatter-only license now for all of those users in your company who don't need a CRM license, but they need a Chatter license. And that license is $15 per user per month, and it includes Chatter, it includes content, it includes read-only access to accounts and contacts, it includes custom objects, it includes ideas, it includes answers, it includes a ton of functionality for a very low price point. So if you want to start sharing the Chatter love with everyone in HR and legal and finance, you can get them on Chatter very easily as well. So think about going enterprise-wide, because there really is power in every single person in your company using the same system for collaboration. So with that said, we're coming to the end of our call. I just want to answer a few questions that we've gotten through our chat window. One of the questions is, does Chatter work on mobile? So absolutely, Chatter does work on mobile. It works on iPhones. It works on BlackBerries. It will work on the iPad as well. You can just log in through the browser there as well. It's not auto-enabled in your company. If you want to use this on your iPhone or your BlackBerry, you have to contact your Salesforce rep or your CSM, and then we will actually turn on the Chatter mobile for you. Another question I've gotten is, if you're in a private group, do you still get notifications? So right now, if you create a group, either whether or not it's public or private, if something gets updated in that group, you won't get a notification today. That's coming in the next release of Chatter, which is just 2 months away. So you'll start getting notifications every time something changes in a group. So that's a great question. It's a great way to share information privately and securely with just a certain number of people. And in the next release, you'll start getting those notifications when everything gets updated in a group.
Do you have an example of how non-sales organizations are using?
Yeah, that's a great example. Great question. So the question is, what about non-sales organizations using Chatter? So for example, Saatchi & Saatchi, which is one of the largest creative agencies in the world, they handle large clients from all around the world. They're using Salesforce and they're using Chatter, but not for sales at all. They're using it to manage their creative processes and their creative projects for their clients. So from the moment of conception, when they start thinking about a creative project, all the way to completion, they track and monitor all of that in Salesforce and with Chatter. And all of their creative teams are now much more looped in because they know exactly when a creative project is moving through the stages of actually being shown to a customer, going through being finalized, and then being produced and so on. And they can follow all that right inside of Chatter. And it's a great example of a non-Salesforce use case and how you can actually use Salesforce and Chatter for that. Another great use case, of course, is, I will post something. I'm in marketing, for example. I'll post something on Chatter, a file, or it could be a comment or a status update, and people inside of my company from other departments, such as engineering or our HR team or our legal team, will start posting comments and feedback and insights that I wouldn't have discovered otherwise on email. Because a lot of times, marketing and sales work closely together, but then there's a gap between the other departments in a company. But now with Chatter, those gaps are being removed completely. Another question I got is, again, how much does Chatter cost? Again, just to reiterate, that Chatter is absolutely free if you have a Salesforce license. It doesn't cost anything extra. You get Chatter as part of your license. And remember that Chatter is core to Salesforce now. It is part of everything that we offer with Salesforce. So that means that if you're using us for sales or customer service or custom app development, you will get Chatter for free. You don't have to pay anything extra. It's part of the innovation you get when you sign up for Salesforce, which is coming out with 3 new releases every single year. And Chatter is going to become core to everything we do. So that means that in the next release of Salesforce, Chatter is going to be auto-enabled for all of our customers, because if you want to take advantage of all the awesome innovation coming out from Salesforce, you really need to use Chatter. So that's why I highly encourage you to go turn on Chatter today, so you can start using it, start seeing the benefits of collaborating inside your company. And we're going to start turning it on for all of our customers in the next release as well. So with that said, I want to thank you all for your time and your attention today. And of course, if you have any more questions at all, feel free to always email me at rdaniels@salesforce.com, or you can follow me on Twitter as well, where I frequently post status updates and insights. Thank you for your time, and have a great day.